pressure in passing situations. It's out of the 43 even playbook. As you can see, you've got your outside linebackers down in the line, so it's basically a six-man front middle linebacker. You can use pretty much any of the blitzing formations, but we're going to use the Sam Will Blitz as a setup for this. There's no really perfect way to set this thing up, but I just want to let you know that if you get the adjustments down correctly, it's going to be very good. Now, I'm in the lab right now. I'm actually been playing around with this. I'm going to try running this flipped, primarily because I want to go ahead and be able to jump into the cover 3 buzz as an option play. But let's just go ahead and come out of the Sam Will Blitz. This is going to be the base play we're going to use for pressure. And I'm going to use this against just random pass plays against my opponent. We're just going to use random pass plays. All right, so basically this is an all-out man blitz. And what I like to do is I like to go ahead and hit the left linebacker option and then blitz all. So I should have all 3 blitzers. And then if I can go ahead and show blitz, that's the ideal situation. So typically what I'll do is I'll try to show blitz twice with this. Now, the key to this blitz is making it difficult for him to hit the outsides with a fast read. So one of the adjustments that I'll do with this particular blitz is I'm going to go ahead and take my outside defenders and put them into soft squats. So you'll basically hit the icon of the defender by double-clicking the triangle button on PlayStation, highlights the corner, and then flipping the left stick to soft squat, and then doing the same thing on the opposite side. And you know if you get the guys in the right zone because they'll step in a little bit. Now, another key adjustment to make this blitz very, very successful is you want to go ahead and use this defensive back right here. And what you want to do to make it more successful is you want to go ahead and blitz him. Now, it's critical to blitz him because basically what happens is that this is probably one of the best tips that I've seen online so far, is that when you blitz your defensive back, he actually moves and reacts a lot better and changes direction a lot better than if you leave him in his assignment. They'll be very flat-footed if they're a man or a zone assignment, but if you put them in a blitz assignment, you'll have automatic basically control. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit the right bumper and pass commit. And another option too is I can go ahead and take the defensive line and slant them inside. Now, the key to my assignment is to cover this guy right here, make sure he doesn't beat me on a streak, and play down for any kind of a drag route. And I'll let my other defenders actually play this. I'm not necessarily worried about the running back too much. All I really want to do is try to get the pressure in, because there's going to be pressure that's going to come in based on that alignment. So in a spread look, this pressure is going to come in very hot. So now we've got basically a run formation. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and crash down and basically blitz down, put all 6 blitzers, and I'm going to go ahead and take my defensive backs and put them in the cloud flats. I'm going to go and use this guy. And once again, I want to defend the streak and then come down for any kind of a drag route. So defending the streak, and as you can see right there, the pressure comes in, and I've got another defensive back to actually take that out. Now, the reason I do the soft squats is because it actually puts people out to defend the sidelines. So if he tries to throw the ball to the outside or puts a flat or some kind of a wheel route out there, that's going to actually put a guy out in that area. So I'm going to show you, this is a perfect example. He queued up the right play. But what happens is a lot of people what they'll do is they'll try to get rid of the ball very quick. And you can see right here, he does a little quick out. That's the good read. But look at this. Because this guy's playing a flat route concept, basically, even though the guy picked up 5 yards, that's it. He's basically picking up 4 or 5 yards. And he has to get rid of the ball quick because the pressure's coming in. So you can see right here, 7 people coming in. Pressure's coming right up the middle. The running back takes this guy on the side. If he hesitated a little bit, that basically would have been a sack play. So this is going to be the setup once again. We need to play the streak area. Make sure we don't give that up, and then the pressure just comes off the edge. So got this set up. Make sure you go ahead and put yourself in a blitz. You'll have better user control. And we have to play that streak. So that's where you really need to pay attention, is that streak. You have to pay attention to the streak. This is where you can give up a big yardage type situation. So if you play down in the hole and you don't actually bite up for that streak, you can see that if he actually recognized that correctly, he could hit me for a big touchdown opportunity. So you got to definitely play that streak first and then come down and try to bite anything underneath. But you can see the way this route combination was set up. He's got basically this crossing route right here coming across. This is manned up in this type of situation. Basically, this guy is coming across like that. So you got to pay attention to that type of thing. So very easy to set up. To set this defense up. It's a lot of user responsibility that you got to be concerned about, but you definitely get the pressure coming in fast. You're sending 7 after them. The edge pressure doesn't hesitate at all, like a lot of these blitzes that have been nerfed in this game. Like these edge pressure guys come in fast. So ideally, you want to have your fastest guys off the edge. So 80 plus speed, 85 speed, 87 speed. So the fastest defenders you can get, the better. And these guys are going to come in fast. You can see right here, I've got an 88 overall middle linebacker. He comes in. Basically, just it's an A gap blitz, and it's also an edge blitz right here. So if he doesn't block, if he doesn't max protect, pressure is going to be coming in because you're sending 7 people all the time, and it's just going to mess up the reads. So this is a defense I used extensively out of the 34 odd last year, and it mixed in some zones. I'm probably going to try to mix up some more zones in this particular defense just to make it a little bit more difficult for people to make some reads and stuff like that. But just wanted to go ahead and get this out to you guys just so you have something to put into your defensive playbook when you need to get some pressure. Hands down, this is one of the better defenses, one of the fastest blitz defenses, but it does provide a lot of holes. So you can't spam this. Eventually, people will actually go ahead and beat this. Will find ways to beat this coverage. So you don't want to spam this blitz. You want to go ahead and blend it into your defensive scheme. So thanks a lot, guys. I'll be rolling out more offensive and defensive schemes to take your game to the next level. YouTube, once again, guys, thank you for your support and all the views and the comments. This is going to be a defensive strategy to take away one of the money plays that is getting used by a lot of pros, and even pros have a hard time stopping this play. So I got in the lab, and I'm going to show you a very fast and easy defense to go ahead and take away a lot of people's reads with this particular money play out of the gun bench offset formation. One of the most popular formations in the game, used by top Madden players and a lot of the top players, pro players in the game. So you'll see this formation a lot, and this is a money play that will basically tear people up. So I'm going to show you how to run this particular play, why it's so effective, and then I'm going to show you a very simple, easy defense to actually stop this play, shut this play down, and force your opponent to basically make reads and decisions after the play is completely shut down or switch into a new offense. Now, if you guys are new to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, also that notification icon, because I try to show gameplay of me using my personal schemes that I like to run online. I'm constantly switching up my playbooks, and I'm also going to go ahead and take a look at the meta and show you defensive strategies to shut this down. So the play out of this particular formation, this is the Carolina Panthers playbook, but it's mesh post, mesh post, and this is a very effective play because it's got those effective crossers that a lot of people that have struggle against, and we also have a nice wheel with the running back, a stock wheel, which it makes very difficult to stop. Now I'm going to go ahead and show this to you against random defenses and show you why this particular play is so good. What the top Madden players are doing is they're taking the outside wide receiver and putting him on an out route, and then their slot receiver Samuels, we're going to put him on a slant route. Now we're not going to run it this way. We're actually going to go ahead and take that slot receiver and slide him over. And once he gets in, we're going to go and snap it and then make our progressions from there. Now, what makes this play great is that you've got these crossing concepts that you really can't. you're going to have players in the right position. You've also got this little wheel route underneath, and then you have a backside crosser too, because you've got this slant that's going to be going over that's going to give you fast progressions and reads. So what's great about this particular play is that you've got all these little areas that you need to dot your opponent up with, and it's going to be very hard for him to use her to stop. So this is a good play to go ahead and use on third down situations, money down situations where you need to move the chains, pick up 5 or 6 yards or whatnot, because it's going to give you an opportunity to get some good plays. Now, I watched a YouTuber's name's Mazomatic. I'll watch some of his videos because he's very entertaining, but it says occasionally he gets matched up with top players, and he used this particular play in money down situations. This is when I saw him moving the chains, is with this particular play against a tournament player that actually is like competitive player that won the San Francisco tournament with the 49ers, and he lost because of this particular play in particular, because it's just very difficult to stop. So let's go ahead and take a look at basically an easy defense that you can jump into and actually shut this particular play down and force your opponent to go ahead and make more progressions, or basically gets coverage sacks. Now, you can conceptually stop this with a cover 6 defense. Now, the key to the cover 6 is that you want to have your cloud flat, your flat zone on the side of where the running back is going to be and the single wide receiver. So you want to have basically the deep quarters on the bunch side, and then you're going to have basically the cloud flat on the single wide receiver side. So that's how you want to run this defense. Now, another thing I wanted to point out to you is that with this particular defense, you have to make one minor adjustment, and then you're going to have to man up one of your guys. Now, another thing I want to point out too is that we want to have a light purple blue. So look at the cover 6 show for purple. See how the shade of that purple is a little bit lighter or a little bit darker than the one right below it, which is the cover 6. That's key. You want to have a light purple, and the light purple blue means it's a quarter flat, seam flat, and it's going to play the flat zone a little bit better. It's not going to fall back into a deeper zone, and it's key because you want to take away one of your opponent's reads with this. So we're going to go ahead and use this particular play right here, which is going to be the cover 9. And we're going to make our adjustments from there. All right, so this is basically the defense we're going to set up. And all we want to do is we want to go and show blitz. We want to get the guys down in the box. Now, I have played around with this defense a little bit, and I found that if you take this defender right here and put him into a mid-read, where you're going to basically go and select him and put him down into a middle read, he's going to actually go ahead and fall with a little bit more depth, but he's also going to take away one of the routes that is very hard to is a route that your opponent is going to be looking to go and hit. Another thing too is that this is going to give you an opportunity to go ahead and use this safety to take away any kind of a run against your opponent if he tries to mix in the run with this particular play. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to manually chase this slant route. So this is the slant route by Samuels. He's going to be coming across. So we want to go ahead, and this is the route we're going to be looking for. So we're going to play down into the box, take away a run, in particular any other play, and then we're going to come back to the slant route. Now, as far as running this particular play, I want you to watch how this particular setup, this quick defense that we did with just a couple of adjustments, gets bagged opposed to what I was showing you before with randoms. So we're going to go ahead and motion this guy over, and then we're going to go ahead and snap the ball. And I want to show you basically on how this play basically bags pretty much everything. So let's go ahead and take a look at the instant replay. There are going to be some little areas that an opponent can hit, but for the most part, all those sweet zones or areas or reads that they're looking for in the past are not going to be there. So first and foremost, this slant is going to be something they're going to look to right away. But if we're using this slant and following this slant, that's going to mess up our opponent, and we're going to chase it. So we're just assuming this is going to be our user guy chasing the slant and taking that down. So his next progression after the slant, he's going to look to this little wheel route. But take a look at this right here. This guy's falling down into this wheel route. If he tries to throw the out, this is going to get shut down because there's going to be a defender right here on the out. And then the last read that he's going to have is this route is going to be this deep post route that he's going to be looking towards. And look at this. Because of the mid read, this mid read right here, he's going to fall back into that passing lane and take away that mid read. And then once he flips away and gets away from it, this guy is actually trailing him, and he's going to go into a deep half. So that means this deep half is going to be able to go ahead and respond to any kind of a pass. Now, there is a little zone area that he actually could hit with the wheel, but I assure you that when he looks to his fast progression right here, this is where he's going to be looking to hit this wheel route, and he's going to see a defender, so he's going to make his progression for this crosser. You're manually taking it away, and then also this route is actually locked up. He's going to be screwed. He's not going to know what to do by then, and even the little flat route right here is going to be taken away. So we're going to motion this over. I want to just show you on how this pretty much locks up any kind of fast reads that he might want to consider throwing. So let's go ahead and throw the flat. You got a defender out there to go ahead and just shut that down. If he tries to throw the quick out, you've got a defender out there that actually can go ahead and pick 6 and 2. So that's going to shut that quick out for you. And then the underneath route by the running back is an area that he'll probably try to throw to, but there's going to be a defender in that area too that can take away his reads. So it's going to pretty much lock that down. And once again, if he tries to throw this particular play, he's going to be throwing into triple coverage if he tries to throw that deep post on the backside. So the only area that you're going to be vulnerable is going to be that slant that you have to manually take care of. So that's the only thing that you got to be concerned about. But for the most part, this play will get locked down. So I don't know if you guys run into guys that run a lot of these meta plays online, a lot of the pro plays, but if you run into mesh post, cover 6 is the way to go. And the key to this, to really locking this play down, is all you want to do is basically take one of your middle yellows, this 3-rec hook. Even though a 3-rec hook is really good, you want to go and put them into mid-read, because that's going to cover that deep post, and you don't have to worry about that. Actually, it's nothing you have to worry about. All you have to do is worry about is that slant that comes underneath, and actually go and take that away. Now, if he's hitting the slant early, what you can essentially do is you can go down to this guy right here and just put him in a spy. So that's going to put your opponent in a situation where if he wants to go and hit that quick read, because that's what he's basically been forced to do, now you've got a spy that actually is going to carry right over the middle as he's actually trying to make his reads and progressions. So let's just go ahead and take a look at that real quick on where that spy is going to fall right into that passing lane too. So those are quick adjustments. But guys, if you run into this play, this is basically cover 6 is the way to go. Take one of your yellows, put it into a middle read, and then you're going to use that motion slant and try to take away that crossing around the backside, because everything else is going to be locked up, and this guy's going to take sacks, take coverage sacks, and whatnot. So thank you once again for your support, guys. If you do like these type of tips, make sure you smash that like button, and I'll be rolling out more offensive and defensive tips to take your game to the next level. So thank you for your support. Until next time. Hey, this is Full Game Prometheus giving you another defensive tip, and I'm going to actually show you once again gameplay just so you can see that this works online. It's just not lab stuff. Guys, I've been running into some players that like to use 5 wide sets where they'll use empty sets, and sometimes it doesn't it really actually tears up one of the base defenses I like to use, which is a 43/4 defense, and I put deep flats on the outside, and I'll give up one-play touchdowns with that if I run into somebody that runs a 5-wide set. So as a result, I have to adjust on how my opponent actually calls his plays. And what I've discovered is that the dime package is probably one of the less, it's like an underrated defensive package out there that I've had really good success with as far as giving people some problems and shutting them down. So really the simplest thing with this defense is that you can use a simple man defense, and it's going to cause people a lot of issues. Now man defense has become the meta, so you want to go ahead and make sure that you leverage the meta and force your opponent to stop it. So this is a very simple defensive setup. It's just man coverage. Basically what I do is I'll take the offensive line out and spread it, contain my guys so the quarterback can't run. But what I've been finding is plays like this where a lot of times people will misread the coverage. They'll assume that the posts are open or the out routes are open, and I'll be able to go ahead and get an easy interception from my opponent because they're not really set up for it. So one of the difficulties with this particular defense is that if you do have a spread set, you are liable to any kind of a run play underneath. So if a guy actually uses a run play with a quarterback, you might give that up. But you can see right here, this play's pretty well locked up. He's able to go ahead and dot me across the field, but for the most part, you didn't have any reads. You had to wait for that play to really develop, and I had a little bit more pass rush. You probably would have had some hard situations. So this is one of the reasons why I like to use the man coverage of this defense. What I typically do is I'll actually go ahead and spread the defensive line out. I'll do cube contains, and you're liable to give up a run. So if you're playing against someone that uses empty sets, this is a very ideal defense to use, because what you can do is you can use this 4-man rush. You can also go ahead and use your middle linebacker, which could be subbed out as a safety position, and basically have 7 defensive backs, and you have deep halves to go ahead and play the deep halves and just funnel everything in the middle. So you can see right here, he's trying to hit post route, he's just not getting it off, and he actually has very elite wide receivers with Antonio Brown. Now, one of the cool things about the dime normal package is that you have a multitude of different types of coverages that you can jump into. So you've got a cover 2, you got a cover 3 shell, you've got basically double buzzes that you can jump into. You can do a quarters defense against them, palms defense. So you're going to have a lot of opportunities. And you can see right here, he misreads the ball. Once again, quarters defense, I'm able to go ahead and get an interception with my safety. So that's what I do love about this dime package, and you really want to go ahead and take a look at it if you're not if you're looking for some different types of ways to do that, take away. I started experimenting in a dime package when I was actually looking for a defense to stop the meta play action boot plays, but the play that I'm really jumping into a lot is just basically this run, this pass defense, just man defense. It's very hard to stop, and right here it actually takes another shot up top. I'm able to go and deflect that ball right there. He just really can't get it off. So if you got elite edge rushers that really can help, I'm going to go ahead and jump into some more gameplay with this. But my opponent was really struggling with this defense. But look at all the different types of defenses that you can jump into. You got cover 2, you got a cover 2 blitz. Anytime he came out in a wide defense, this is my go-to defense, and I just need to play the middle of the field, and actually hits right here on a corner route. So there are some adjustments you'll have to make, but I'll play around with this for you guys to kind of give you an idea of what we can go with. So once again, manning up, I have to use the guy over the middle. And using change of direction, safety type position, you could see he just tests my user. I'm able to go and pick him off. So you couldn't hit the post, you couldn't hit the outside. This guy was frustrated. He ended up winning the game because he really couldn't do anything about the defense. So here, same situation. I got an opponent that is using a spread formation, using an empty set. I'm going to go ahead and use that tight end over the middle. He actually does a double move. I'm able to go ahead and basically deflect that ball right there in that type of situation. Back at it again. Back to the dime normal defense. I'm just going to go ahead. He's got a tray open type situation. Go with the cover 2 shell. And just press. All I'm going to do is press my guys down, shade on the inside or the outside, depending on what my opponent's doing. And you can see right here, he just has nowhere to go with the ball. He actually has to get rid of the ball because I've got those edge pressure comes in off. So if he rolls outside, those edge guys are going to come and chase after him and actually cause some issues against him. So This is one of the reasons why I really love this defense. So once again, same setup. I'm going to actually play the linebacker in the middle, pressing my guys, make sure the guys are man to line. And right here, once again, you can't get rid of the ball because that edge pressure comes off. Miami Dolphins, actually one of the more underrated teams on regs. Actually got a really good defense. The defense pretty much overperformed on what I would expect. But right here, empty set, spread, man align, basically press. He's able to go ahead and dot me up right here, but I actually get a nice little deflection because this guy does not come down with the ball. I'm going to get another interception. So this guy was definitely frustrated with this defense. He had a hard time with it. So same situation, 2nd and 10 situation, spread my line out, actually QB contain because he does double move, but you can see right here I catch him off guard. The edge pressure comes in, and right here he doesn't know where to go with it. I actually go and sack him right there in that type of situation. And here's another rage quit. Basically, same type of setup. I actually back my guys off. He takes a shot up top. I'm able to go to get an interception. So, guys, I'm going to start playing around with this dime defense. Is a coverage defense. It's something I'll be playing with. But let me know if you guys use the dime defense in your defensive sets. So, once again, thank you for your support, guys. If you like these type of tips, go ahead and smash that like button. I'll be rolling out more offensive and defensive tips to take your game to the next level. YouTube. Once again, guys, thank you for your support. If you are new to my channel and are looking for defensive and offensive tips to take your game to the next level, make sure you go ahead and smash that subscribe button, also that notification icon, so you can never miss an upload. This is Prometheus, once again, the only YouTuber that shows full games of all the tips and schemes I post on my channel. I'll show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Also, I'll be highlighting some other YouTube channels to help support the community. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe, where I'm going to be giving basically weekly tips on one of the best tips in Madden every week. So I want to talk about basically an offensive scheme which is really hard to stop, and it's a base play which is called levels. Now, if you guys have seen levels before, it is a very hard play to stop. It's a play that's been getting spammed for 4 or 5 years now. It's been around for a long time, and it's got some really hard concepts to stop. So levels Y corner is the play that we're going to be looking at, and I'm going to be looking at it from a defensive standpoint on a defense that I feel like can really slow this play down and cause a lot of problems for your opponent, because what they're looking for is something you're going to basically take away their reads. So I want to show you a defensive scheme to help you slow it down. It also does stop a lot of other plays, but it gives you a nice base play to go ahead and use against your opponent if he starts spamming levels against you, and you have this setup is fairly simple to use. Now, from a concept, it's going to be a cover 3 shell, but you could find similar plays like this basically in any kind of playbook. The key to this particular concept is making sure that you have a yellow in the middle with your defensive linebacker, and then you have on the edges of your defensive line, you've got purple zones. That's the key to this. Now, I like to run this flipped to basically the blitzing corner or the safety. The blitzing safety is going to be where the tight end and the running back are going to be at with the levels concept out of the trips formation. So I'm going to go into my coaching adjustments, and instead of running a baseline, which is very common for me, I'm going to run man align, because this is going to go ahead and mess up your opponent's reads. The other adjustment we're going to do is we're going to take our curl flats, our purple zones, and put them at 20 yards depth, and then our hook zones are going to put it 10 yards depth. You can also do it at 5, but I like 10 just because they get a little bit deeper out there to take away the next level of this levels concept. All right, so as you can see right here, basically my safety is going to be my user, and he comes rolling down automatically for me. So the first adjustment I'm going to do to set this defense up is I'm going to go ahead and show blitz by hitting the wire triangle button and flipping my left stick to the left. Now this is going to go ahead and take your deep third from one safety and pull him over to the other side. Now it's critical that you pay attention to that. You know that you have a weakness where there's going to be an open area of the field off to the right, and you need to compensate that with your user just so you don't get beat over the top with a streak with the tight end or some kind of an adjustment. The next adjustment we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take our purple zones, which are the seam flats. We're going to turn those into cloud flats. So we're going to hit a triangle Y button, do underneath coverage, and then we're going to go ahead and take it from a hard flat to a triangle Y button and then flip over the top, and it's going to turn it into cloud flats. There's a huge difference between cloud flats and hard flats. Those cloud flats will actually get a little bit more depth. They're going to be forced to play the sidelines, and this is going to essentially take away any kind of quick adjustments your opponent's going to do. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take our inside linebacker, which is going to be the right of screen inside linebacker X. And I'm going to go ahead and take him and I'm going to put him in a curl flat by hitting the left stick off to the curl flat. That's going to be a purple zone. And then the final adjustment is I'm going to take my defensive end, which is going to be on the right side of the screen, which is going to be square. We're going to put him into basically a vert hook. Now, my goal is to just basically go ahead and fill in the gaps against my opponent. My first goal essentially is to go ahead and watch the tight end and make sure he doesn't streak, because essentially if he streaks, this defender right here that I'm rolling over to is nowhere. He's not going to be able to get there in time. So I want to go ahead and pretend the streak first. I'm not worried about the running back route. I've got two defenders who are going to play that. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I go ahead and cover the streak. The next thing I'm going to do is that once I see the guy breaking off into a zone area, I'm going to come down and just try to clean up any kind of crossers over the middle. But what you're going to see is basically this is going to get all my guys in all clouded up into zones. Now, of course, we're running this stock. Most players online don't run it on stock. But what they're going to do first is they're going to go ahead and look to this flat corner route concept. So I'm actually using away a quick shot with the flat. And you can see because of this depth, this guy's going to take away this corner route, and the flat route right here with this guy is going to come down and take away the flat route. So those two routes essentially are dead. And then what's going to happen is this guy's coming across the field and he's playing a deep third. So if he tries to go ahead and throw it up or something like that, you're kind of in bracketed coverage. So that's going to be a very tricky play for your opponent to actually go ahead and try to squeeze it in, and then this is going to go ahead and basically think that might be man coverage. Now let's go and take a look at the action off the left hand side. The best read on this particular play is this quick in right now, but that is going into a passing lane because essentially we've got these two guys right here. This guy's going to fall back out and actually clear the zone. And then basically these guys right here are just going to clog up that levels concept, and I'm going to go ahead and carry until he gets into the zone areas right here. Now this wide receiver actually sticks right here, so that's going to be the late progression read. But I assure you, most Madden players are not going to see that, not going to be patient enough to do that, especially when they get some kind of block shed action. Now, I'm only sending two people, so this is a very max coverage type of situation. But if you blend this in with a blitz, with an occasional blitz with the same type of look, it's going to be very frustrating and it's going to shut down a lot of their plays. Now, the one thing I have noticed is a lot of times the CPU will roll out right. I do have a very good defensive end on the right side, which is Bosa, so that might be causing him to roll out. But for the most part, it's going to force him to throw into user territory unless he makes some kind of adjustment. Now, I actually labbed this play against basically all the other plays in this formation, this gun trips tight end offset out of the Packers playbook, and it does a really good job of actually causing these plays to get shut down. So that's what I do like about it. So this is a random play. I don't know what the CPU is going to do. And it comes with a nice little run right there, and I stopped that for a couple yards. Got the play set up once again. Little play action, crossers, and you can see if he goes in and drops it down to underneath, you're going to be able to shut that off. So this is actually a really good base play to use against your opponent. And you can adjust from there. For instance, you can jump into a man defense of this. Especially if he likes to run the ball. So you use this as your base play against people who like to run these trip sets. And then you can just jump into other plays to go ahead and just cause them some problems. So that's what I do like about it. It's going to basically kind of take away that money play, which is levels. And it's going to take away a lot of other plays too, and it's just going to force them to make reads. Once again, your responsibility is just to make sure he doesn't streak up a guy, this tight end, and play the seam, and just let all your defenders fall into their zone. So once again, guys, if you like these type of tips, go ahead and smash that like button. And I'll be rolling out more offensive and defensive tips to take your game to the next level. So thank you for your support, and until next time. So this is a really easy play to go ahead and get into. You've got 3 base adjustments that you have to make right before the snap of the ball, and then after that you can make other adjustments to go ahead and lock things up. But for the most part, your opponent's going to have nowhere to go with the ball with this adjustment. Hey, this is Prometheus. Guys, if you're new to my channel, I try to provide different tips and strategies to go ahead and take your game to the next level. So guys, I want to talk about a defense for a very popular play that's getting used online by a lot of the top Madden players, even a lot of pro players. In particular, one of the players that I follow, I watch a lot of his content, is Cody Ballard. Cody Ballard, I would think, is probably by far the hardest working Madden YouTuber out there. He does regular streams. He tries to drop like 4 or 5 tips a day, and he really does master the formations and defenses he runs in and out. And he uses a lot of the meta plays. Guys, I want to show you basically a defensive setup that I put together to basically shut down one of his base plays. This is the base play that he actually uses to basically go ahead and kind of get an idea what type of opponent he's running against. And he keeps running this play until basically the play gets taken out. So I got 3 quick adjustments I'm going to show you and some base adjustments set up. So a common play that's getting used online is out of the gun bunch formation, and in particular the play that is getting spammed online is at the very bottom. It's right here. It's flood. Very common play that's going to get used. One quick adjustment or audible that most Madden players use when they play this is they'll go ahead and take the running back and put the running back on an option route. So he kicks out a little bit farther and then actually goes to the sideline if it's man coverage. But this defense is really designed to actually shut down the deep out route and a deep in route, which are some of the check downs, and it's also going to go ahead and take away the deep streak route that you can get beat over the top with, and it's going to take away basically the flat route by the tight end, leaving the only crazy option route that you're really going to be concerned about, which is going to be that option route by the running back. Now the defense I'm going to be using is the nickel double A gap defense, the 2-4-5, very common defense. You can pretty much find this in every single playbook. And the play we're going to use in particular is going to be the cover 1 hole. And we're going to make a couple fast adjustments to go ahead and attack our opponent. Now I want to go to the coaching adjustments. First and foremost, I'm usually someone who does not like using the auto flip, but for this particular play, so you can have better lineups, you want to go ahead and take your auto flip and turn it on. Also, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and put your auto alignment at man coverage. Play ball is typically what I like to run. And then quarterback matchup, you want to have, obviously most people are playing against the Packers, so you want to have your best cornerback chasing Adams all around the field. So you always want to have your best cornerback playing against the best wide receiver. Now, where you want to go ahead and set your zone drops is we're going to leave the flats as is, defaulted. The curl flats, we're going to drop this at 20 yards depth, and then my zone drop hook, I'm going to drop this at 15. I might adjust this to 20 yards depending on what my opponent likes to do, but these are my adjustments right here. Default with flats, curl flats 20, and hook at 5. All right, so basically with this particular play, we're going to make 3 quick adjustments. We're going to go ahead and do a quick adjustment with our linebackers. We're going to take our left out-of-string linebacker, which is going to be Griffin, and we're going to go ahead and put him in a seam flat. The seam flats play kind of goofy, where they actually will go up and fall back into the seam and take away an in route. On the opposite side, the O, which is going to be Brooks, we're going to go ahead and put him on a seam flat too. Now, the other adjustment, we're going to do the real quick adjustment. These are going to be the base adjustments. I'm going to go ahead and take my outside right of screen linebacker or cornerback. That's gonna be over. We're gonna put him in a deep half. And the reason I do this is that if I leave him man coverage, a lot of times the receivers will get over the top of him and give your opponent basically an opportunity to go and take a shot up top and get a one-play touchdown. So I want to take that away from this play, especially if my opponent's quick snapping it. Now, this is your base adjustments. Just 3 adjustments. You're going to seam flat your outside linebackers. You're going to take your right of screen bunch side defensive back. You're going to put him in a deep half. And now you're going to go ahead and make your coverage adjustments. One of my coverage adjustments is I'm going to go ahead and shade the inside. I'm going to go ahead and basically do a pass commit. And then I'm going to go ahead and blitz my safety right here down to the box. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to watch the middle of the field and look for the running back, but also look for this crossing right here. Now, this play essentially gets locked up across the board with these drops, and it's going to mess up your opponent on their reads. So let's go ahead and take a look at Insta Replay real quick and show you how this pretty much locks it up. These seam drops, they go to the outside, but look what happens. They immediately drop back in the seam, and they cut off that in-cut passing lane. So this is going to mess up your opponent's read. He's not going to be able to throw that because you're going to be there. The same thing happens right here with these seam flats. He falls back in the seam, and he's falling back into the seam, this out cut right here, taking away that out. Now the deep half, also once again, this guy is actually going to go ahead and just go over the top coverage. So if the guy actually leaves that streak, he's going to be there for you. And then finally, your route to the outside, he can probably hit this, but I can tell you, you're going to have a defender out there to go and take away that flat route, meaning that if he catches it, you're going to tackle him for a 2-yard gainer, and that's not what your opponent does. Now, the wild card position of this particular play is usually this route right here. And what's going to happen is we're going to have this double teamed, and I want to go ahead and bracket this guy right here, play down, take away his read in the running back, put 3 guys around it, and then actually come back up and take away the weakness of the zone. So that's the weakness of the zone of this route is that this guy is probably going to get underneath that man coverage, and you want to get in that passing lane to take that away. So basically all of his progressions are going to be taken away, and as you can see, the quarterback with a high awareness is going to scramble out and have nowhere to go with the ball outside of running with it. Now, if he flips the play, once again, it's still going to be the same type of a look. So it's really easy to set this up. I would say probably going ahead and putting your guy into a blitz is going to be a last adjustment, just so you have enough time to set this up. But once again, all you're really going to do is take away his passing lanes and force him to go ahead and throw underneath. So it's going to lock everything up. So you can see right here, this guy's actually, he's over the top of Adams, so he's not going to give up a big play. You've got him on the outside, him falling back into that zone right there for you. Your flat is taken away, and your responsibility is to take away the check down slash basically this crossing route over the middle. Now, this is not really that bad of a base defense to use just in gameplay anyways. The defense to actually go ahead and use against your opponent is just a base defense. It's going to really go ahead and force your opponent to decide how they actually want to go ahead and make reads and adjustments. But this, you're going to have guys down in the box to go ahead and take away the run And you've got to have these zones just dropping in the middle of the field. It's going to take away a lot of those reads that your opponent has. You can see right now, the computer doesn't have anywhere to go with it based on running stock plays. And this is just a really, really easy defense to go ahead and set up. It's going to force your opponent to go ahead and try to make the reads. And then what's cool about it, too, is that after they've actually tried to make adjustments on this, you've always got your back pocket blitz that you can use. It's so easy to set up. You can set up that fast nickel A-gap blitz. And now he's going to have pressure just coming in and actually developing them. So if he doesn't get rid of, if he's waiting for his routes to develop, this is just a great defense to go and jump into. So guys, if you picked up some pretty good strategies, go ahead and smash that like button. And if you have any particular defense that you like to run against that flood concept, let me know. And once again, I try to roll out weekly tips and things that I lab just to cause my opponents some struggles and stuff like that. And if you like this type of tips, go ahead, smash that subscribe button, also that notification icon, because I try to roll out regular tips and I also try to show you guys some gameplay. So thank you for support, guys. Until next time. Hey Patreon, once again, guys, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. I was watching some of the tournaments for the Madden tournament gameplay, and I think what I've seen is one of the most common things. It was basically a defense that was getting spammed by a lot of the top players. It was the nickel 2-4-5 double A gap, not to be confused with the double A gap defense, which is a 43 defense. This is a 34 style of defense where you have 4 linebackers and two defensive ends. But this is a blitz that is a very aggressive blitz. It's a very simple setup, and basically all you're going to do is you're going to force your opponent to either max protect, basically protect 6 people, and make reads and make decisions on where they're going to throw the ball. So this is a defense that's going to dictate what your opponent does. Now, I haven't labbed this against rushing plays at all, so I really don't know how effective it is against the run. I can tell you that it's probably the best pass defense out there. Now, ideally, you want to have yourself good defensive backs. So if you're playing a regs team, the perfect team to run this with would be like the Patriots. It's a phenomenal team. You could just constantly send pressure. Ideally, your edge defenders are going to be people that you want to have your fastest speed to, because you want to get in the backfield as quickly as possible. Now, let's go ahead and take this down. You can find this in the Redskins, the Titans, the Buccaneers, Steelers, Jets, Giants, Patriots, Dolphins, Rams, Texans, Packers, Lions, Broncos, Bears, Ravens, and the Cardinals. So it's a cover 1 hole. It is a 2-4-3 double A gap defense. If you're playing a custom defense, you might want to throw this into your scheme, just because this is a great play to go and throw into 3rd and long type of situations, because it's a very fast and simple setup. You're going to get pressure against your opponent unless he actually makes the right adjustments. Now, when I'm setting up my defense, we want to go to the rush defenders. So first and foremost, your right defender, your rush left end, you want to have your fastest guy. So I put in Jerome Baker from the Dolphins, 89 speed, outrageously fast. My right rush defender is Grugel Hill. He's 89 speed, really, really fast. And then your defensive tackles, you obviously want to have big body block shedders. If you have good defensive ends too, this might work very well for you, because these guys are going to beat their one-on-one type situations. Your linebackers also need to be very effective rushers. So anybody that has good rushing abilities, Shaq Lawson and Van Noy are also good rushers too. They're not as fast as the other guys, but I also need basically to preoccupy those guards. So if I've got guys that actually have good power moves, or basically power moves, anything else, you want them to go ahead and clog up those guards and the centers. As far as our defensive backs, we want to basically have our 3rd best defensive back in the slot position. So anybody that's got really good speed, man coverage is the ideal situation. Now I'm going to go against one of the best offensive lines, at least on the edge. which is going to be the Saints. They've got elite tackles. I'm going to go ahead and call this play. Now, I looked at a bunch of different plays. I looked at basically the mid-blitz initially, but what happens is the defensive back that plays the strong safety position doesn't come down and play the ball. But if you use this particular play, which is a cover one hole press, all these guys are automatically pressed, and this essentially is going to get these guys down and forcing your opponent to actually try to throw pass or press. And we're just going to run this against random shotgun passes. All right, so you can see the guys are already man align. Man align will actually help you, but this is a very simple play to set up. All you're going to do is you're going to take your defensive line and spread them out, take your linebackers and pinch them in, and then you're going to blitz all, and that's going to essentially have the blitz set up. Now, last adjustment is we're going to use our free safety. We're going to go ahead and blitz them because that's going to give us a better user ability, and we're going to put them down in the gap. And my pass responsibility more than anything else is to take away the running back if he goes and releases or not. Now, another thing you can do is you can press again to get these guys down and press animations, and you can hit your controller and do it inside just to make sure that any slants or drags are going to get covered up. And then all we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take this guy and do that. One of the things I did notice too is that you get more consistent pressure if you choose the gap, the A gap on the side of where the running back is. It just messes up the blocking assignments a little bit better. But as you can see right here, basically the defenders are in the area. The quarterback has to get rid of the ball fairly quick. And you know, you could set this up really, really quick against your opponent. So that's what's cool about it. And then if you pass commit, the guys are going to basically get to the quarterback a lot quicker. So we're going to go ahead and chase that. As you can see, you've got the double A gap unless he blocks his running back. So really this is a very, very fast blitz to set up. And you've still got basically that pressure coming off the edge, even if he blocks his running back. So he's gonna have to max protect to stop this blitz. So you can see right here, the running back actually has to take on this corner right here, and then obviously this guy comes in clean. So if you've got fast defenders that can come off the edge, 89 speed, 85 plus speed, they're going to come in and make the quarterback react quickly. And if you've got defensive backs that actually play pretty good man coverage, then you'll be able to go and get rid of that ball. Now, obviously you can get beat over the top if you do a press type situation, so you might not want to do a double press. So if you just go with a single press, spread, pinch, blitz the guy right here, and then we're going to watch the unassigned guy is the running back off to the left. And you can see the pressure comes in even though he max protects with the delay. So really, really fast to set up. And that pressure just comes off. So I would throw this into your scheme. Obviously it has weaknesses in the sense that, if a guy hits you with a double move, that's something you have to be concerned about. But it's just a very good blitz that you can throw into your scheme, and it's gonna force your opponent to make fast and hot reads. So if it's a third and long type of situations, it's a really good blitz to go ahead and jump into, just to keep your opponent honest. So just make sure you pass commit, send that pressure, and force your opponent to make reads. You can't get beat over the top, but a lot of times in these type of situations, the pressure just comes in so fast that if you got good defensive backs, you really can't do anything about it. So, guys, this is a defense I'll be checking out online. I would suggest checking it out yourself. It seems like to be a very, very effective defense that is going to get you some good stops. You sprinkle this in with some other plays, it's definitely going to be very effective for you. So once again, thank you for your support, guys. Until next time. Hey, this is Full Game Prometheus, the only YouTuber that shows you full games of all the tips and schemes I post on my channel. I show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So guys, I had a recent request from a subscriber on having a defense to shut down this particular play, which is a cross drag. It's out of the pistol bunch tight end playbook. It's Saints playbook. Saints is a very common playbook that a lot of people are still using online, and then the Buccaneers is trending, and then also it's in the running gun and the pistol. And I ran into people running a mini scheme out of the pistol bunch tight end, and it can be very frustrating. In particular, this particular play right here, the cross drag. This is a very hard play to stop, and this actually was a request from one of my subscribers, Tom Latimer, and he says they run cross drag stock and mix in a tight end attack, both which you attack the middle of the field. And I started putting my defensive ends and vert hooks and attempted to slow down the reads, but haven't had a lot of success. So I was in the lab. I found a defense that can slow this down. It will mess up people's reads. Now, if the play completely breaks down, then there'll be some openings and stuff like that. But it's an easy defense that you can jump into to shut this down, and it also will provide some coverage against like the vert attack too. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Now the defense is going to be the dime, and this is you can find the dime in a lot of different packages, but the 46 I know is a very popular defense getting used by a lot of people online because it's got the 3-3-5 variations that are the meta defenses. But this is a nice defense you can actually jump into. Now the play we're going to take a look at is going to be the cover 3 cloud, but I want to talk about our coaching adjustments to go and shut this down. First and foremost, we want to go ahead and use man align. I know that the meta has really switched a lot. A lot of people are using man align, so this probably won't be an adjustment for you. But if you use man align, this is going to get the defenders over the middle. I also play ball. I want to get my guys playing the ball. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to leave our flat zones at default, but we're going to take our curl flats. We're going to put these curl flats and put them at 10. And what's unique about this particular play and this setup to stop this play is that we're going to put the zone hook drops. We're going to put those at 15, 20 yards or so because we want them to get those hook drops into the passing lanes of this route, which is basically a quick snapper's dream. All right, so to set up this defense, it's fairly simple. We're going to press our guys. We're going to take our defensive line and shift them off to the left. I'm going to take the the right of screen defensive tackle, my X icon. I'm going to go ahead and man him up on the running back. I'm going to go ahead and take away that delayed swing route. And then the other adjustment I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my outside right of screen defensive back and actually put him in an outside quarter. I find that he's going to play the side out a little bit better for me. Now, my responsibility is the user, this guy right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to bite down and come across about 5 yards and then come back up into a passing lane because that's going to be the fast hit that my opponent's going to use. So I'm going to take away his fast hitters, but basically all I'm going to do is I'm just going to come down and then come back up into the passing lane. This will take away his reads. And I could shuffle a little bit with that, but I want to go ahead and take away his reads with this particular play and force him to go ahead and make late passes or passes for this to develop. So we're going to go ahead, set this up. Once again, press these guys down. These quick little adjustments right here. I want to take away his fast reads underneath, his little draggers. I want to be in the area. I'm going to take this passing lane out. And then what's going to happen is he's going to have to force a bad pass or or lead like that. Now, this is not one of the better defensive lines in the game. They don't really have any kind of elite person. So if you had an elite rusher, that's going to make a huge difference. But you can see if he tries to check the ball down, that running back route essentially is going to be shut down with this route. And it's fairly simple and straightforward to set this up. If you blitz another guy, this should probably help with the edge pressure. And you want to take away that in route. That money in route is right there. And you can see it pretty much locks everything up, especially if you get the edge pressure on the sideline or off the sides. So with this particular play, you've got these two mesh. You got this mesh concept. You've got this dragger right here, and then you also have this dragger right here. So if you bring your user down, he's not going to throw that right away. What happens is once you pass it off, it's going to go into this guy's passing lane. You've got basically this route this guy actually in a spy that's underneath it too. You know, the running back releases, he's going to chase with that route. So basically you've got this bracketed where these guys can react to that. This other drag route is going to fall right in here. And what's interesting is about this play is that you basically got these two guys that are bracketing this route, and they're going to cover this up all the way until you get to the sideline. You're going to have this guy that actually can come down and bite this. Now, you could play with your cover 2 coverages, your flat coverages, but I just prefer to do this little flat route. And my responsibility is to make sure I take away this dig route. The dig route is really, really deadly, but you can see that there's going to be some people that can actually hit that. So the guy's going to have to throw this dig route really, really quick, because if he waits on the in cut, you've got a guy that's floating into that in cut to take that away, so you can pick him off with that particular route. So this is a good play to go and shut this down, or slow this play down. Obviously, if you get no pass rush, he can he might be able to go ahead and get in and basically hit the play when people start bouncing on the routes and hitting the sidelines and stuff like that. But this play is basically designed to be a fast release. Now, if your opponent runs the verticals play against you, then it gets a little bit stickier, and you're going to have to make a decision on whether you're going to give up a flat or if you're going to give up the wheel route. So, in this type of situation, if he uses verticals, you need to go ahead and cover up this streak, but it's going to open things up a little bit for you. I want to open up things for this person's offense. And the running back route really isn't something I was super concerned about. I'm more concerned about this guy right here that gets past the coverage, and you can see he's wide open for a huge completion down the sideline. So there is a quick adjustment you can make, but this is going to open up that drag on the backside. So this is what you could do if you anticipate him jumping into this verticals play. So if you anticipate him jumping into verticals, what you can do is the hard flat off the left, you can turn him into an outside quarter. And what's going to happen is he'll actually chase with Thomas's route, that wide receiver. He'll actually chase that route, basically putting, he's going to take away that route so there's no passing lane for your opponent to hit. And basically all it's going to give him is a dunk underneath with the running back. So you can see right here, instead of letting this guy through, we get a match coverage type situation, and now this essentially has been taken away with the match coverage. So that's why you want to make that adjustment. So this is not the perfect defense, but if you can catch your opponent off guard, get a couple sacks and stuff like that, and take away that particular play, it can definitely go ahead and really frustrate him and take him out of this offense, or make him scared to run this offense because it's basically shutting everything down. So this is just a defensive concept that you can use to shut this down. Fairly simple adjustments, just a few adjustments that you can do so your opponent can't quick hike you. It does put you in a position to go ahead and to be able to take away the run. And if you expect him to do verticals, you can make one quick additional adjustment to go and shut that play down and force him to take the check down. So once again, guys, if you like these type of tips, make sure you hit the subscribe button, also that notification icon, and then also let me know if this is stuff that you think is going to help you with your gameplay by hitting that like button. So thank you for your support, guys. I really appreciate it. Until next time. And you can see right here, he basically doesn't have anywhere to go, and that's why it actually gets locked up. Hey YouTube, this is Prometheus once again, guys. Thank you for your support. I want to talk about a really good base defense to run, or a good defense to run in a 3rd and long, 4th and long type situation that is very, very difficult to maneuver or get around. And it's a very simple and easy defense to set up, and it's going to be basically a cover 2 shell. In previous Maddens, cover 2 was one of the best defenses to run. Players would do is actually putting one of their middle defenders and actually putting them into a deep blue, giving you a 3 high cover shell, and it wouldn't allow you to get beat in the middle of the field. So I'm going to actually show you a defense I just recently ran into, I was aware of, but I just didn't really have my offense set up to, and all my plays memorized to be basically go ahead and be effective against this. And I am going to getting down to like the last minute of the fourth quarter, and I had an opportunity to win the game and actually blew it just because I just got stupid on my reads and made a bad adjustment. The guy ended up picking me off. So let me go ahead and show you on how simple it is to set this defense up. It's going to be a cover 2 coverage, but let me just show you what the adjustments are. Now, one of the first things you want to do is you want to baseline. You want to make sure that you don't have your guys switching around a lot. So if you baseline, that's going to be very good. I usually like to go ahead and play ball just to give myself a chance to intercept. And on option defense, I always go conservative. But when we get down here, I want to show you basically the drop zones that we're going to take a look at. We're going to take a look at the zone drops for the flats and the zone drops for the curl flats. Now the flats, we're going to go ahead and put these either at 25-20, 15-20. I'm going to split the difference and go with 20. Zone drops, you're going to use either 10 or 5. And if you got a guy that's actually been really aggressive and he's attacking the flats a lot, you can actually go ahead and adjust this to 0. But between 5 and 10, 10 is probably the best way to run this. So if you just start a game and you're going to run this defense and just see what happens with your opponent, I would say probably go with the flat drops at 20. And the curl flats, at basically 10. So let's just go into the concept. I'm going to go ahead and use the Tampa 2 defense, and in particular, I'm going to go ahead and use it out of the 34 defense, which is going to be the 34 odd. So let's just go ahead and use a Tampa 2 right here. Now I'm going to use this against random shotgun plays, and it's really simple to set this defense up. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to take your middle linebacker. You're actually going to go ahead and take him and put him in a deep third like this, and then you're going to take your outside linebackers and put them into curl flats like this. And then the final thing is that if you want to get better control of your user, you want to blitz them. And a lot of times what happens is this really frustrates and locks people up. So what you're going to do is you're going to do a QB contain and force your opponent to make a read. Now my responsibility is to play the middle of the field and take away my opponent's reads. But I want to show you why this defense is so effective, because essentially what it does is it funnels people back to you as a user. Your responsibility as a user is just to basically play the seams, just play basically where these little hash marks are at, or that's going to be the area that you're going to do, and you're going to use this area right here is where you're going to use her, and all you're going to do is you're going to wait for someone to fall into your route. So basically, this is be a route that you'd be concerned about. This route would be something you'd be concerned about too. But what this does is it takes away any other routes on the sidelines. So if a guy likes to throw corner routes or flat routes or out routes, that's going to be taken away. And if your opponent actually tries to hit you up top, you've got safeties over the top. Your middle linebacker is going to be dropping into a deep third. So there's going to be essentially people protecting the sidelines, protecting the flats, and then you've got deep third, forcing everything back into the middle. And if you're forcing your opponent to throw towards your user, that's going to give you more chances of getting interceptions and more coverage sacks because you're taking away his reads. So once again, we've got this set up. And all we're really doing is we're looking to see what's going to happen. And if my opponent's checking down to a running back that I have to take away, that's going to basically put me in the driver's seat. So a lot of players online, they'll use plays like this where they have a sail concept. You can see this particular route is just bagged. If he does catch it, he's going to take basically a tackle right away. If he tries to go ahead and pop this route, you've got a defender here and you got a guy over the top. On the back side, you've got this guy that's actually playing this route right here, taking away. And this corner route right here is actually going right into a zone 2, so he's got nowhere to go with it. So he's going to have to take his check down with a running back. And if I'm actually going ahead and taking someone out on check downs, I'm going to be putting him in a situation where I'm going to be winning. So it's fairly easy to set this up. It's 3 quick adjustments, and you're just going to, the challenge that you have is actually using basically your middle linebacker to go and take away his reads underneath. But you can see right here, he's going to have to pick a high-low. And trust me, if he's actually going with basically these little routes underneath, he's not going to be happy. And if you anticipate your opponent's going to roll out, you can always just use a cube contain is one of those things. And you can see right here, he basically doesn't have anywhere to go, and that's why it actually gets locked up. Now, obviously using the 34 is going to put you in a situation where you're going to be using a slower player in a linebacker position. But you can always go ahead and use a nickel formation and actually go ahead and use one of your nickel backs and set up the same play. So let's just go ahead and find a Tampa 2 and watch how we can make these adjustments. So now basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and utilize this corner right here. And this is going to essentially give me an opportunity to run the same defense, but now I've got a guy that's got a lot faster reactions, and that's probably going to freeze my opponent. So here you go. You got the defense set up. And you can see he actually goes down. And even though his wide receiver actually made a play, so his running back wide receiver made a play against this one defender, he whiffed it. I've also got backup right here to go and tackle it. So even though I whiffed this tackle basically for a 1 yard loss, I have a defender over here to go and clean up that missed tackle and only giving up a few yards. So this is really, really easy to set up. And you can see right here, it's going to mess up his reads, and you can get easy picks. So this is a good defense to go ahead and jump into. I've struggled with it. It's, you know, if you don't have ways to go ahead and stop this, you know, if you don't have plays to stop this type of shell, you definitely need to start labbing that. And that was one of the reasons why I struggled against the guy and I ended up taking an L, is because I made mistakes. He just patiently stayed in the shell and took away my initial reads and waited for his defensive line to get block shit. So this is a good defense to jump into. I can attest to it. I struggle against it, so everybody else does. A lot of top Madden players, competitive players, will use a shell like this, and you can too. And you can use basically any defense that you want out there that's got a cover 2 shell, and then you can drop that middle defender into deep blue. You got that. Basically, you can pretty much run this in every defensive set. So a good base defense that you can use. So once again, guys, thank you for support. I'll be rolling out more offensive, defensive tips to take your game to the next level. So thank you for support. Until next time. Hey YouTube, this is Prometheus. Got a request from one of my subscribers. He said he's really struggling against the mid blitz defense. I want to show you basically a couple of ways to go and break this down, but I'm also going to show you ways to actually beef up your mid blitz with some minor adjustments. So a lot of times the double A gap defense is a very good defense to go and use against someone for pressure. And the primary reason is that it's a very simple setup. It's probably one of the best defensive setup blitzes, the most consistent blitzes in the game, and it has been for years. So what's great about it is that if your opponent does not block additional blockers, you're always going to get edge pressure guys that actually come off the edge and essentially go ahead and get to the quarterback on both sides of the play. So very easy blitz to set up. This should be something you should have in your arsenal if you haven't already. And it's a good defense to use in passing situations. Now I'll talk about why this is not one of the best defenses in general to use against your opponent, because there are actually some major issues. But basically to set this defense up is pretty simple. Basically what you're going to do is man align. What I like to do with the mid blitz version of this is actually go ahead and use the guy that's going to be on the running back. You want to go ahead and spread your defensive line out and crash them down, and then a final adjustment is to go ahead and hit your right bumper and pass commit. Those are the adjustments. Now typically what I like to do too is I like to use the guy right over the center. This sometimes will preoccupy the center, and my pass responsibility more than anything else is to go after that running back. Another adjustment a lot of players do is they're going to go ahead and basically go ahead and press their guys and force the opponent to actually make a read or make an adjustment like that. So as you can see right here, the computer actually pressed it out, threw the ball away. So let's just go ahead and set this up again. We're going to crash down, press. I'm going to go ahead and user this guy. And typically what I like to do too is basically go ahead and take these guys and press them. And I'm going to go and user over the safety, and I've got to play that running back as my assignment. And a lot of times what's going to happen is that pressure is going to come in. Now, here's the problem with this defense is that it does make it somewhat difficult for you to run this defense, where you actually have to make fast decisions and actually go ahead and cover guys a lot. So you have to quickly determine whether this running back is going to go out or you're going to go ahead and stay user. So that's one of the disadvantages with this defense, but it makes it very difficult for the CPU to make a choice. So you can see the pressure was on. The guys were coming down and actually getting rid of the ball. The CPU made the right decision, right, in this type of situation. But you could see, look at these guys are actually coming down, and they're going after the quarterback. So if you're playing against someone who really doesn't know how to make really good decisions, right, like that, that definitely could put you in a situation where you can get some easy turnovers. So that's what's cool about this defense. Now, let's go ahead and talk about what you can do on offense against anybody that uses a double A gap defense. But I want to show you one other thing too. You could set up the same type of a defense with a coverage defense too, by making the following adjustments. So all you're basically going to do is you're going to go and switch into a coverage defense. You're going to spread your defensive line out. You're going to blitz all, which means you're going to take that defense, those linebackers, and put those guys in. We're going to crash down, and then we're going to pass commit. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take this guy that's supposedly covering the running back and just hover over the center. And a lot of times what's going to happen is now you've got zone coverage, and this is going to mess up your opponent's reads. So this is a defensive strategy a lot of top Madden players use with their defense. Is basically what they'll do is they'll use a zone defense just to try to mess up their opponent's reads a little bit and just try to leverage that into their scheme right here. So right here the computer actually makes a good read. I think he might have blocked more, but let's take a look at the instant replay, see why this guy got enough time and he didn't get blitzed. It looks like no, he didn't block anybody, but you could see this guy's actually coming in eventually. He's going to get clean eventually. So if I would have used this correctly, if I would have stayed closer down in the box, I might be able to pick off these two little spot routes that actually he threw correctly into. But you can see that's what forces opponents to make adjustments. So let's go ahead and run this mid blitz. I'm going to switch sides. You can see right there, quick read, you can actually get an easy interception if you play this defense correctly. So if I'm actually playing against someone who's running a lot of mid blitzes from me, basically what I need to do is understand that if he's playing man coverage, I need to have basically man beaters. And if he's playing zone cover, or if he's playing zone, I just have to look for the seams. So we can basically pop a slant streak route against them. So slants are going to be susceptible to this, where you can just go and pop that for a big completion. Got a little whip route off to the right. Now, typically what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to block more, but the little whip route is going to basically get myself some pretty good separation off that. So double moves are going to be very effective. And if he's got off coverage, you can take those quick little slant routes in and out. Now, another thing you can do too is you can max protect. This is going to go ahead and basically go ahead and take away those 6 blitzers. And all you really want to do is just look for your man reads. So if it's man coverage, you got the little dragger. Go ahead and hit that, get the separation, go ahead and turn that up. Let's go ahead and take a look. Hopefully we can get an inside zone here. So this is perfect. One of the things that's bad about basically a double A gap defense is that it's very weak against inside zones or outside zones. There's any kind of a zone run. Now I want to show you. Now, I've got a really good defensive player over there, which is going to be Fletcher Cox. But with a zone run, a lot of times what happens is you're going to basically get a little bit better blocking on the outside. So let's go ahead and see if we get. So, if you got a guy that runs a lot of these plays, just use a zone run. And a lot of times what's going to happen is you're going to get huge holes up the middle, because of the way the A gaps actually go. They get helmets on them from the offensive line. So take a look at this right here. Because these guys are down in the A gap, it's a fast, easy read for the offensive line in the sense where they know where they need to know their blocking assignments. They don't have to go to the next level. They don't have to reach to these guys. So a lot of times what happens is that you're going to see these guys take on the correct blocking assignments, and it's going to allow you to go ahead and get an easy run just because they're going to push to create a hole for you, and you actually could pick up some pretty easy yards. Inside zone, and a lot of times what's going to happen is you're going to get yourself a nice little running lane where you can pick up some pretty easy yards. So obviously in second down situations, if you got a guy that spams these type of coverages, this defensive set against you in first and second downs, just do the inside zone. You can actually get some pretty good stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look at basically why stick here. With this, all you want to do is just look for the quick outs and actually go and hit that is another thing. Now, I'm going to go back to the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to show you how that if you play the double A gap, there's some techniques in where you can actually go ahead and OP these double A gaps. So if you got a guy that's running these against you, there's a lot of ways that you actually can go ahead and be very, very effective with these. It's just you just have to know your man beaters more than anything else, and try to hit those progressions and leads. And if you block, more guys, it's going to give you more time. So if you're struggling with this, I would definitely stay out of basically a wide set. But if you choose to use a wide set, basically use quick routes that you know you can go and get rid of the ball very quick and get separation against your opponent. So that's just another thing you can do. So let's just go flip back into the defensive side. And let's talk about how you can make double A gaps better defensively. So it forces your opponent to really compensate for it and put you in a better situation. All right, so basically a concept that you can do against your opponent is what I refer to as +1 blitzing. So with this type of defense, if he blocks his running back, that means he's going to have 6 people to go ahead and take on the 6 blitzers. So in other words, that line is set to go and negate that blocking scheme. So what you can do is you can go ahead and take your defender and read the running back and determine if you want to go ahead and manually blitz in to basically go ahead and turn it into a 7-man blitz. This is what we call +1. Now, in previous Maddens, the system would actually acknowledge that the running back was blocking, and it automatically put a man-assigned defensive player in on the blitz. But what they do now is it drops back into a zone. So you'd actually have to manually adjust this. But let's go ahead and watch the running back and see what happens. He actually goes ahead and runs out with that. But let's see if we can get what I'm looking for. Bring this guy down. Hopefully he blocks his running back. He does. And because of that, if I come in and blitz, I'm going to get another edge defender because it's going to overwhelm the offensive line and the defensive line. So this is a +1 blitzing concept. So let's look into the instant replay. I'm reading this guy right here. He's my responsibility. I'm not really going to worry about what's going on in the back coverage. And once I see him step in or actually play that, I'm going to go ahead and manually rush down. Now I can manually rush into the offensive line because I'm not really concerned about that. All I want to do is get one of my defenders free to get to the quarterback. So you can see right here, I actually engage with the tackle. This guy comes around with the running back, but look on the opposite side. This guy's not accounted for because basically there's 7 blitzers and there's 6 blockers, and he's going to get a free look to the quarterback. So this is a defensive strategy you can use. Now, I'm not someone that is big into blitzing or using my defensive linemen, but if you use the defensive back who's got a coverage responsibility, and if he's covering that running back, but the running back doesn't go out, going in a blitz, this is going to basically get 7 people down to the box and actually mess up your opponent's reads. So just going to go and spread this out. We're going to do this. We're going to press our guys down. And I'm going to go ahead and watch that running back and see if this running back comes out. He does on a delayed stuff, but the pressure just comes in hot, and the quarterback just doesn't have time to get rid of it. So this is going to make this blitz a little bit more OP for you. You definitely want to go ahead and pass commit, make sure these guys are responding. If you wanted to, you can bring this guy down so he's a little bit tighter. And we're going to go ahead and take this guy, and we're going to blitz in if the running back doesn't go out. So the running back does go out. He does a little angle route. That's a perfect route against the user, is an angle route, because especially if you mix up a flat. So we're going to user this guy off this edge right here. And you can see right here that he's going to have to get rid of that ball quick, and that's going to be very difficult for him to do that. I'm going to show you some Insta Replay. What we're looking at previously is that I'm watching this running back right here, and if the running back blocks, I'm coming in, because look at this guy off the edge. He's coming in clean. He's going to get in here clean with the +1 concept. So is it a perfect defense? No, but it's a good situational defense that you can throw into your scheme to make these a little bit better. He actually just turns around as quickly as the ball is let go. But this is a good defense to go and jump into to basically beef up your mid blitzes. So how do you beat it? Inside zone plays, running plays are actually going to be very good. But you also have to have double moves, and sometimes you just have to max protect. You're going to have to block 7 and have a double move, or basically routes that you know are going to beat man coverage, or basically beat man coverage over the top. So going to lab, I would lab this defense. Personally, just to see, hey, these are the pros and cons and stuff like that. This is gonna work best for me. Is it gonna work best for me? But these are just from little strategies. So once again, my subscribers, thank you for your support, guys. If you have any other questions or stuff like that, you need help with it, just let me know. I'll be rolling out more offensive defense tips to take a game to the next level. So thank you for your support. Until next time. YouTube. Once again, guys, thank you for your support. This is Prometheus, the only YouTuber that shows you full games of all the tips and schemes I post on my channel. I show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, guys, actually, I recently used this pro defense online to basically stymie one of my opponents. He had a hard time with it. He started adjusting a little bit later on as he kept seeing more downs of it. But this is a very easy blitz to set up. It's very, very effective, and it will get you stops online if people are not prepared for it. So this is a good base defense to come out of, just to see if your opponent is prepared for it. So it is out of the nickel 2-4-5 double A gap defense. Very popular defense, has been around for a long time. It has to be the 34 version of this double A gap defense at 2-4-5, because the setup is a little bit unique. And the defense we're going to take a look at is going to be the cover 1 hole press. The cover 1 hole press. Now, let me show you how to set up your defense so you can optimize your roster and get very good pressure against your opponent and force them to make fast progressions, fast reads, and actually get more stops on defense. All right, so basically this is a defense which is a pass rush defense. And the key to this defense is having a lot of speed on the edges. So ideally you want to have over 80 speed, over 85 speed is ideal. There are some rosters out there that you got guys that are in the high 80s and some of that they're on the bottom of the 90s as far as edge rushers are concerned. So I'm looking at the speed difference right here with Copeland and Uck. I don't know how to pronounce this guy, this Josh Uck guy. They're 86 speed overall, so they're going to be our edge rushers for this particular play. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap those guys out. And then for our defensive tackles, we're going to put in our best block shedders too. So you could take a look at, like, strength is usually a good indicator of block shedding. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Guy and actually put him on the edge. Or we can use basically this Wise guy, the Wise Jr. is another person. Now the middle linebackers too is what you want to do is you want to have fairly fast rushers. You don't want to go ahead and have people like your safeties down at the middle linebacker position. So any other fast rushers would be an ideal situation too. So when I'm looking at my roster of people that I want to have down in the box, I want to have someone that has a lot of block shed and also some kind of ability where they can actually go ahead. So these guys got really good block shed, but you can see these free safeties, these safety positions, they don't. I want to have someone who's going to be able to get off the blocks and go ahead and try to tackle. Now, the one thing that's great about this Patriots roster is that they've got really good defensive backs. They've got, look at all these great defensive backs. You've got 99 overall, you got 85, 84, 82, and you've also got a free safety, which is a 92 overall. So you got some really, really good players, but the weakness of this team is going to be this free safety position. So that's something that you need to shore up by actually going ahead and putting someone in this position to go ahead and clean up that safety for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Jonathan Jones at the free safety, and then I'm going to take McCourty and put him over this guy over here, which is going to be my strong safety. So you can see I've got a bunch of really good man defenders, and all of which actually have really good press credentials too. So Jonathan Jones has got he doesn't have that great of a press, so that's going to be the guy I'm going to use her, because the other ones are actually going to go ahead and have a very effective press and make it difficult for people to get off the line with this blitz. So this blitz, as you can see, is a huge difference, because you have your safety that's actually down pressing his defender a lot closer. But if you use a different version of it, you'll notice if you press this safety over here, he does not come down to his defender. So there's a huge difference with the cover one hole press, is that safety is going to come down and play that. Now, to set this defense up, it's very, very simple. First and foremost, you're going to go ahead and spread your defensive line out. You're going to pinch your linebackers in. You're going to blitz your linebackers, and then you're going to go ahead and blitz your user, which is going to be this safety right here. Now, with this particular blitz, what's going to happen is that unless he max protects 7, someone's going to get in, and your responsibility is to go after the running back if the running back goes out in the flat. So you can see the pressure just comes in, and it's going to be very difficult for your opponent to make a read. So once again, we have this set up. We're going to man align. And you can see the pressure comes in. The way this blitz is set up, it does actually go ahead and engage the running back and make him stupid. So right here, you'll see the running back actually comes in and engages with this guy right here, giving the edge pressure to get to that quarterback. So this will go ahead and get in against 6 blockers, because you're screwing up the CPUs. They think that basically 7 is coming, and this allows you to go ahead and fake the blitz and then come back and chase down any kind of crossers or fast reads. And once again, what's great about this particular play is that you've got these guys that run a lot of these bunch sets. It's going to get that pressure in where they have to make a read very, very quick. So this is a really good defense to go ahead and use. Obviously, it has holes. If your opponent does make fast reads, it could get you in a situation where they could hit a quick little drag route and stuff like that. But what's great about it is that it's going to dictate what your opponent wants to do on offense. It's going to put him in a situation where he has to go ahead and defend against your defense, putting you in a situation where you're going to basically get more stops against him. So I'm going to show you just the first time I ran this defense against someone on regs. I'll just show you some clips. You'll see some adjustments he made with little quick outs, little angle routes and stuff like that. But what it did is it made him predictable, and it gave me an opportunity to go get some interceptions and stuff like that. So once again, guys, if you do like these tips, make sure you hit that like button, and I'll be rolling out more offensive and defensive tips to take your game to the next level. Thank you for your support, and until next time. Hey, this is Full Game Prometheus, the only YouTuber that shows you full games of all the tips and schemes I post on my channel. I'll show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So guys, if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also that notification icon so you can never miss an upload. So guys, I want to talk about head-to-head games and some rookie mistakes that I see that actually good players do, but they don't take in consideration on how to go ahead and stick with their teams or find lower ranked teams that are actually much better than what the ranking provides. Now, the teams right now that have suffered injuries and have poor records but actually have a bunch of players that are hurt are usually a lot better teams than the teams out there that basically are just suck with players that are healthy. So if you got a team that you love, like for instance the Chicago Bears or the Cowboys is a great example of this, a team that you love that just sucks now because because all their players are hurt, you can go in and actually change the roster and play injured players to optimize your team and make it much better. So I played against a guy who was playing the Cowboys, and one of the things I noticed, he wasn't using Dak Prescott as his quarterback. And that's stupid. You can use injured players in head-to-head games because there's no penalty for having injured players in your roster. So this is probably the most important tip that I can provide to you guys outside of the other two tips I'm going to show you. But if you play head-to-head games and your team's like, oh god, there's so many injuries, the team doesn't play like it used to, put your injured players in. So let me show you how this works. So if you look at the Cowboys right now, you've got Andy Dalton, but you've got Dak Prescott. You can put in Dak Prescott as your quarterback, and he's going to perform like he's never hurt. So that's one of the things you want to do. Another thing too is that, say for instance you have a hurt wide receiver, you can go and swap them out or put them with a little bit more speed. Your offensive line. This is a situation where basically you might have some other type of players that are subpar. So what you can do is you can switch in these studly offensive linemen and make a huge difference with that. Defensive line too. You might actually have some really good players that you want to put in. So that's something that's very important. And let's take a look here. We've got basically some really good players that you can put in your line. You can swap things around. But I think the most important thing is that if you've got injured players that are down on your roster that are hurts, and they're not on your ability to go and swap out because these guys are actually hurt, what you want to do is you want to take these guys and put them into your roster because they're going to make a huge difference. So if you take a look at this, we've got these guys down here. I can go ahead and put these guys up on the roster, and they're going to make a huge difference on the way my guys play. So that's the first thing. Play injured players. It's going to make your team a lot better. It's something I've been doing when I'm using the Chargers online. One of the things with the Chargers is that basically their free safety, their safety, Derwin James, is injured, but I actually put him in my starting position, and he makes plays for me left and right when I'm playing this game. I also go ahead when I'm using the Chargers, I use this Tranquil guy. He makes plays for me left and right. He's my edge rusher and stuff like that. So another thing I do when I'm using the Chargers is I actually go ahead and take Pouncey, my center, and I put him at the left guard position because my left tackle, my left side is just terrible. So I put my center over there, and once again, he performs for me perfectly. I get a really good push off that left tackle because I've got a strong overall player that actually plays that. So first tip, make sure you put your injured players in your starting positions. That's going to make your team much, much better. So let's go and take a look at the second tip. Now the second tip I want to talk about is basically leveraging custom playbooks on offense and defense in your head-to-head games. You can't do this in other play modes like MUT or Draft Champions. You have to play the stock playbooks. But the reason why you want to go ahead and head-to-head games leverage a custom playbook, first and foremost, is so you can preset your audibles. That's probably the most important thing. Secondly, you can have these custom playbooks set up immediately where you can have those preset audibles, but you can also go ahead and expand and add a couple of formations. So let me go ahead and show you one of the reasons why I actually have these particular custom playbooks set up for me. And it's not because I want to cheese a bunch of different formations. It's just I don't want to have to go through the effort of actually going ahead and changing my audibles before a game. That's kind of annoying. And if you're just playing regular head-to-head games with strangers and just a pickup game, you're not gonna have the luxury of having someone that's going to give you a delay of game because you're trying to set your audibles up. So if you want to establish a custom playbook, you go to the settings down here in the corner, the bottom right-hand corner. You're going to go ahead and go to custom playbooks. And then on offense, you just pick the playbook that you want to work with. And then basically what you do is you go ahead and set your audibles. So I'll give you an example. I run a formation out of the shotgun Y off trips. This is a very common formation that I use online, but I don't like slants. I don't like a motion inside split. So I want to go ahead and change some of these plays out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and swap out this play with curls, and I'm going to get rid of this inside zone split because I don't want to have that auto motion. I'm going to go and go ahead and switch this out for maybe a draw play, maybe an inside zone, maybe an 0-1 trap. But this is going to be how I'm going to go ahead and set my audibles up. And then all I'm simply going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and save this and save it as basically a new playbook. Now, another thing I want to share with you is I was experimenting with this Lions playbook, and I really love this scheme, a little scheme I put together with this 46 Cub. But the problem is I also wanted to test another scheme out of this defensive playbook, but it was not the one that was available to me. So what you can do is if you take your right bumpers and you switch over to basically all plays, you can add a formation to your playbook. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to all plays. I'm going to drop down to the nickel defenses. And then the formation I want to do is I want to do the 2-4-5 double A gap. And this is the formation I want to use because there's a popular pro defense that a lot of people have been using. So I'm just going to go and drop this into my scheme. And then what I can do too is I can go ahead and take this and change my audibles around. There might be some plays that I don't want to use in this scheme. So now I've got this new playbook in my scheme, and maybe I want to get rid of this cover 3 show 2 and swap that out with just a basic cover 3 because I don't want to do that show 2. So this provides me just a little bit more flexibility with my defenses, and then I can put in different types of plays that I feel like are going to make me optimize my defense. And once again, I can save this as a new base defense. So if you guys are playing regs, I first and foremost would recommend making sure you alter your rosters. You can have a team like the Jets be a terrible team offensively, but that you can swap out players and get that 64 overall, get it up a much higher. Another thing too is you want to go ahead and make sure that you put in custom playbooks so you have not only basically all your audibles preset, but you have access to maybe a couple additional formations that you can use to win more games. So guys, these are 3 common sense tips that some people just don't know about. If you take a look at some of my gameplay, you'll see people using injured player replacements or backup quarterbacks. You don't have to do that. You can have your starters play, and you want to have custom playbooks. Take advantage of it. There's no reason to be running base stock playbooks and making adjustments and changes. You can go ahead and have your audibles preset. You can add in special formations and make your gameplay a lot better. So once again, to my subscribers, thank you for your support, guys. If you do like these type of tips, make sure you smash that like button, and I'll be rolling out more offensive and defensive tips to take your game to the next level. So thank you for your support. Until next time. YouTube. Once again, guys, thank you for support. I really appreciate it. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, also that notification icon. Also, another thing, guys, if you do like these type of tips, make sure you smash that like button. It really will help me grow my channel. I've been really stagnant over the last year. I don't know a particular reason why. They started changing up some of the features and some of the advertising requirements, and since YouTube did that, I've been very stagnant. So I really, if you guys can comment, that'd be great. If you can go ahead and hit the like button, that'd be great if this actually helps you with just some kind of approach. So I want to talk about a play that a lot of people use online, and it's called slants, and it's a fairly difficult play to actually stop online. It's a mesh concept, but it's a deep mesh concept. So I want to provide you with a strategy on how to go ahead and stop slants. And what it comes down to is basically making sure that you have your zone drops set up correctly. So first and foremost, we're not really going to touch the zone drop flats. Those are the pink zones, or the light blue zones. We're going to take a look at curl flats and hooks and hook flats. Now, first and foremost, I want to go ahead and take my hook flats, which are the yellow zones. I want to put those at 10. And then our curl flats, we're going to go ahead and take these and put them up to 15. Now, a lot of times if someone's playing mesh against you, you might want to drop these down against 5. But if they're using strictly slants against you, slants, if you get a little bit more depth, it's better for you, because slants are, when they're getting over the middle of the field, they're going to get a little bit more depth. The curl flats option of 15 yards is going to basically take away those deep slants on the backside of the route. So when they get past the middle of the field and get to the other side of the route, that's where the 15 zone drops in. Now, the coverages that you can use, I find that one of the best coverages to use is just out of the 34 odd coverage, which would be the cover 34 coverage. But you could use other types of coverages too. And the key to this defense and setting up this defense correctly is just making sure that you have basically zones. You have purple zones that are dropping out, and then basically you're going to have yellow zones in the middle of the field. So that's the key to this. But let's just go and use this out of 34 odd. And we're going to use this with the cover 4 drop show 2. We're going to take a look at the double slants, just because this is a very common play that you'll see online. All right, so basically with this defense, the key to this defense essentially is letting these zones play their position and then hoping someone actually makes a bad read. Now, one of the adjustments I like to do on the outside is I like to go ahead and take my outside defenders, my 2 corners on the outside, and put them in deep halves. And the reason why is I want them to fall back a little bit more in a zone. Another thing I'm going to do too is I'm going to go ahead and user this guy right here. And this guy right here is going to essentially be my user where I'm going to try to pick it off. Now, a tip that I've seen online just recently, and which actually works a lot, is that if you want to have better control with your user, you put him in a blitzing situation. He'll be in a lot better control. And we're just going to go ahead and play down here in the box and just wait for our opponent to go and make a read over the middle. So we're just going to go ahead and make a read over the middle, and he drops it down to the flat. That's a good situation to be in. So this is going to be our setup right here. You want to baseline, make sure your opponent reads. And basically what we want to do is we want him to make a decision where he wants to go with the ball. Now, the CPU is actually settling for the flat, and that's actually a good situation because most players online do not want to settle for the flat. Most players online are looking for the slant routes. They're looking for this route right here, and they're looking for the crossing route right here. But I want to show you that look at these defenders. They're all in the area right now where all the mesh concepts at. And when they actually throw the ball afterwards, they're actually going to be throwing into another coverage right here. So this is going to force your opponent to go ahead and try to throw into one of these slant routes or settle underneath or take off this quarterback. So here's another good example of a slants play. And we want to go ahead and user this guy. We're going to put him in a blitz. And basically what we want our opponent to do is we want him to settle down for the flat. They don't want most people when they play slants, what they're doing is they're trying to look for the crossing routes over the top because most players online are greedy. They want to get yards. So if they're using slants and they're settling for flat routes where basically they're not picking up any yards, that's going to be a win for you. So you can see right here, he throws, he only gets 5 yards. He's looking for 15 or 20 yards. But take a look at what's going on right now. We get the slant on this backside right here. He can't throw to this route early. He's got these guys crossing right now. I've got basically 3 defenders in the area, and right now he's passing off and passing into this passing lane right here. So that's all just taken away. It's just not going to be an area you can go with. Conversely, on this backside right here, where the double slant's going, this guy's passing off to this guy. If he throws in this passing lane, it's going to get picked off, and I have to go ahead and double team this guy so he doesn't get past the depth right there. So very easy to set this up. Defense and forcing him to check it down underneath. Most players are going to basically not want to check things down, and if they're checking things down, you're winning. So now I'm going to go ahead and just do very aggressive hard flats to take away his hard reads, and then have all these crossing routes underneath. And now you can see he's essentially completely locked up, and he's just going to have to try to get rid of the ball. So in that type of situation, you can see how he got completely locked up because it took away those hard flats. Most players are not going to go ahead and run a play like this. What they're going to do is they're going to take one of their wide receivers and streak them up. So I wouldn't go with a very uber aggressive defense like this. When I'm playing, I wouldn't put my guys in hard flats like this to go and take away those hard flat things. One of these guys, one of these defenders, one of these wide receivers is going to be streaked up. Then they want to go and take off the top. So that's why you want to have those deep thirds. Playing this type of situation. But you have to have your adjustments down. You want to have your quick adjustments down for your defensive backs so you can actually put them in a position where they can take away some of these deep halves. So I like the deep halves. What I could do too is I can go ahead and take this guy that I'm putting back into a third or into a quarter. I could put him into a different position, but this is going to put people down in the box for me. It's going to be starting as a run defense with the way this is set up, and then it's going to be very, very good against slants. So I don't know how you guys defend slants. If you have a certain particular defense that you do to defend slants, go ahead and list it down here below. I'd love to go ahead and lab that and just see if we can go ahead and get a better defense to stop slants. But this is essentially how I would approach someone that likes to spam slants as much as possible, is just getting another defense, just getting a lot of defenders to take away those lanes with the drop zones of using the hook zones at 10 yards and then the curl flat zones at 15. So thank you for your support, guys. If you do like these type of tips, make sure you smash that like button, and I'll be rolling out more offensive defensive tips to take your game to the next level. All right, so Patreon guys, I want to basically go ahead and break down this defense I've been using online. Had some pretty good success with it online, and I just want to make sure that we have the correct people set up for this defense to work. So let's go ahead and jump into basically how I alter the depth chart for my defense. All right, so the first thing I want to point out is I want to have my fastest and best edge rushers off the edge, and defensively, we've got Chandler Jones, which is a really good defensive end. I want to have him down on the defensive line, and also want to go ahead and have some pretty good speed down there too. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and swap out some of our defenders here. We're going to go ahead and swap out Riddick for this guy right here. And I'm going to take Riddick and actually put him in the middle linebacker position. And then I'm going to go ahead and take these middle linebackers. I'm going to go ahead and put these guys out on the edge just because they're fast, but they're also basically, they're not going to be my fastest dude, so I want to have Riddick down here. Now, with my defensive line, I want to make sure that I've got my best edge rusher, so I'm going to put Chandler Jones down on the left end here. And then I found another guy on the depth chart, this Gardeck. He's actually a fairly good outside guy right there that you're going to have put down there. And then with our defensive backs are just going to leave our best defensive backs in the box. So let's go ahead and take a look at the audibles and how we run this. So the base play we're going to call, it's going to be the 43 under. And we have basically cover 2, edge sting, the Tampa 2, and then the cover 2 sky. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to swap out cover 2 with basically this quarters defense, cover 4 quarters. That's going to be our base defense we're going to use majority of the game. Then we're going to go ahead and use edge sting as our next audible. The Tampa 2, I want to go and swap it out for a play that I'm anticipating someone to hit the flats, so I want to go and swap it out with cover 2 hard flats. And the cover 3 sky, the cover 3 version of this I typically don't use, but I've been thinking about it. Probably the best thing to do would be a cover 3 match, because this will kind of mess up your opponent's reads a little bit. Now, out of the huddle, we're going to use the safety blitz 3, but we're going to flip that particular play. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and set up our coaching adjustments. And we're going to use base. We're going to play ball. Quarterback matchup, we're going to use the cornerback matchup, we're going to use speed. And the option, strip ball, and tackling, we're going to put that at conservative. Our zone drops, we're going to put at 25. Our curl flats, we're going to put at 10 or 5. And then we're going to leave default for zone drop hooks. And I like to flip the play because it gives me just a better matchup with my better edge defender. I find that he just works a little bit better if I flip the play. And it's also going to put a backside edge defender off to the left, usually going against that left tackle, which usually is not covered up by tight end. So that's going to give you another way to go and attack your opponent. And I'm just going to run this against standard shotgun passes and just code from there. So the reason I like this particular play is that first and foremost, you get these guys that actually come down to the box, which essentially are your safeties. And then what I like to do is I like to switch into cover 4 quarters. And I'm going to go ahead and take my outside defenders and put them into cloud flat, soft squats. It really doesn't matter because they're going to drop to 25 yards depth. And then the final adjustment is I'm going to take that outside defensive tackle and put him into a 3-rec hook, a spy, or I'm going to go ahead and drop him into a man over the running back. And I'm just going to use this guy right over the middle. That's in my last adjustment might be just going ahead and putting this guy in a blitz just so I have faster user, but if I can't get to it, I can't. Another adjustment too is I'm going to go ahead and pass commit and just force my opponent to run. Now, I've basically got a bunch of guys down in the box, and what happens is a lot of times, most players are not going to run with this because you've got those safeties coming down. So you can see this is very fast to set up, and then your final adjustment is just to blitz your user. And you just go ahead and just play the middle of the field. You've got that 3-rec hook that's going to help you support. And you notice how he hit the flat out there? The flat is going to be one of those weak areas that the defenders are not going to get out to, so he might actually expose you with that. And we're going to set our opponent up for a bait, especially if he keeps going back to it again. So once again, we're going to go ahead and set this up. We're going to run commits or pass commit just so we can get our defenders out. And we're just going to go ahead and let our guy actually go ahead and hit those flats. If he hits them quick enough, he can get those yardage, but we're going to set him up for an interception on that. Now, I've showed you guys basically this in action. So if you take a look at my YouTube channel, I've got probably about 6 or 7 plays or gameplays with this defense online, and it works. A lot of people have a hard time. Those money crossers aren't there, and that's my user territory right there. I just need to go ahead and pick people up. Now, another adjustment I can do is I can keep this cover 3 shell, and typically I'll do a couple different things. One of my base adjustments is I'm just going to go ahead and put my 2 safeties into vert hooks, and I'm just going to use her over the top and make sure I go ahead and play over the top middle, and this will mess up some people's reads initially, and it's going to get people out there in the flat. So if he likes to do a lot of mesh concepts, you can do that. Another thing too is I'll man up on the defenders, and you can man up the tight end too. and just say, hey, okay, beat me over the top. You know, I'm not really concerned about it too much. I've got basically over the top defenders. I've got safeties playing these guys. So just go ahead and beat me over the top if you want to do that, or try to check it down and hit the running back. So it's just another way you can mess your opponent up. So I'll show them the same type of look. If I'm anticipating to give me that look, and I'll just go ahead and man up those guys, and that sometimes will throw off his reads because he's expecting to be able to hit those reads like that. So one of the things I discovered is that I need to have some pressure against my opponent. So this is where I actually go into either cover 4 look, and if you go into cover 4 and then actually you go ahead and blitz all, that's going to bring more guys down in the box. Now I want to show you a quick adjustment that I've learned really quick. So if I jump into cover 4 and I go ahead and blitz all, that's going to pull my guys down like that. And basically what's going to happen is it's going to get all these guys down in the box. And what I've discovered is that you want to go ahead and make sure that you do a quick adjustment where you basically make an adjustment where you reset the coverages to make sure that they're not going back in zone drops. This is going to be important when we have cloud flats out there, or basically other type of cover 3 coverages. But I want to send the house against my opponent to make a fast read, and that's all right. But I want to go ahead and make sure that I send the house after him. So we're going to look at cover 2. So you can see these guys. When you shift the line around, sometimes what happens is it really brings people down to the box, and all you're going to do is pass commit, and you just peel off and just try to find the area right there. But you're gonna get, you know, unless he blocks 7, you're gonna get basically a bunch of people in the box right here. So that's just a quick adjustment you do. So basically you're gonna base a line, you're gonna scrunch up your line. I like to go ahead and blitz or slant the defensive line towards the running back, and then I'm gonna go ahead and pass commit. And that's actually to get some pressure in off the edge. You just have to get rid of the ball fairly quick. So we got this set up. I'm going to go ahead and move these guys over. I'm going to go ahead and crash off to the running back, and we're going to pass commit. And a lot of times what's going to happen is that's going to get a lot of pressure in there, and he's going to have a hard time making his reads. So cover 2 is going to be a good defense to go ahead and run. And basically we got these guys down in the box. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and blitz all. We're going to shift the line. We're going to crash our line towards that area. And then the other adjustment too is we're going to do a quick adjustment, and we're going to do sticks. What this does is it's going to take basically those flat defenders, and they're going to play hard flats. So a lot of times you'll see when running this defense is that players will actually go ahead and come down, or they'll start throwing the flats because it's available because you got off coverage, and that'll expose it. But if you can jump into a cover 2 shell, showing your opponent basically the same look, and then hit him with hard flats, he'll throw into interception. Now, when you make this adjustment, which essentially is the sticks adjustment, what's going to happen is that your user is going to go into mid read, and that's going to give you a tell that you made that adjustment correctly. So we're just going to go ahead and user right here. And we're just going with a completely light box, no running back in the backfield. He's going with a mesh concept, and if he's getting rid of the ball right away, that's a good thing. Jump into cover 2, blitz all, shade, and we're going to go ahead and do sticks. That's going to put me at a yellow, being to acknowledge the sticks, and I'm going to play the middle of the field. I'm probably going to go to the slot receiver because it's more of a threat. And you can see right there, I'm able to go and pick them off, and that's something that's happened before. Now, if you're running that cover 4 zone, basically this guy's going to float out. He typically will float out, and this defender actually essentially a lot of times will actually go ahead and float up, and he'll never come down. But because we've got hard flats, he's going to come down, and any kind of a quick pass to the outside, he's going to bite on it and actually come down and play that. So That's what's great about this. In the similar situation, these guys are typically floating up with cover 4. They're floating up. They're floating back for floating back. But here, cover 2, he's going to come down. And then you've got the over-the-top coverages right over the middle. And I'm just going to use it in the middle of the field and make sure he makes a read right over the middle, and I'm going to get a nice little interception animation. So very, very good thing to do against your opponent with this cover 2 shell. I love it a lot. So cover 3 match, essentially the same type of look against your opponent. What you can do is you can just use a spy right here or a 3-rec hook. And it's going to take those guys out in different areas. And here's the reason I want to show you, one of the reasons why I put my best pass rusher on that opposite side. If I got my best pass rusher over here over this right tackle on the left end type of position, if he's an elite pass rusher, he beats that guy. That's going to get me some pressure, and it's going to force me to go ahead and basically force a right-handed quarterback out of position. So that's one of the reasons why I like having my best dominant pass rusher, if you guys haven't noticed, on the right tackle, rushing on the left end. Because a lot of times most quarterbacks are right-handed, and if we get this guy rolling back this way and throwing the ball off his side, he's not going to be. It's going to take him longer for those pass animations. So that's what I like about it. So if you got an opponent that is running, basically, you know, he wants to go ahead and take guys and put them up on streaks and little wheel routes, you can go into this cover 3 match, and this will basically mess up your reads. You can see right there I'm beating those one-on-ones off the edge. Man coverage 2 essentially is the same. And we're just going to put people down in the box. And I've got basically my 4 defenders out there. And all I'm going to do is just watch over the middle of the field. Just a very easy setup. And we're basically showing our opponent essentially the same look over and over again. And you can get yourself, you know, it's going to force him to make a fast and easy read, but you're still getting the pressure in. So you can see right here, I peeled off a little bit too soon. I probably want to come in a little bit more of a rush. But this running back is going to have to take on a rush with that. So you're basically sending, you know, 6 and 7 defenders out here. He's going to have to max protect. But previously, because you're running that coverage before, he's going to want to put his running back out there. And that's not something he's going to have to put that running back out there against that cover 4 shell because it's a coverage shell. But now we're going to hit him with a man coverage read, and he actually threw into just a good read right there. And I didn't get into the passing lane quick enough, but you could see how me peeling off and going into it. So this is a defense that I have been using successfully online. So I just wanted to give you guys a little heads up on it. It's been very successful for me. Got to get out to Kittle on this. You can see right there, if he's throwing over the middle of the field, that's where I want him to go with it. So once again, guys, thank you for your support. Go ahead and take a look at some of the gameplay I'll be rolling with. This is, you know, a fairly good defense that I have been having some pretty good success with, and I think you guys need to check it out yourself. So thank you for your support, guys. Until next time. YouTube. Once again, this is Prometheus, the only YouTuber that shows you full games of all the tips and schemes I post on my channel. I'll show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So guys, you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe button and also that notification icon so you can never miss an upload. So guys, I actually want to show you a quick and easy adjustment that you can use to make your cover 3 shells better. Much better than what you're currently getting. If you ever been burnt over the top for one-play touchdowns and want to know why your blue defenders that are supposed to play deep zone aren't playing their zones correctly, is because you ran into somebody that knows how to basically beat cover 3. Now, first and foremost, I'm showing you a shell right now, which has got a single high safety. That's a big tell for any player out there that this is a cover 3 shell, and basically they're going to say, okay, I'm going to watch, see what happens with the coverage above, and if he shows me the right look, I'm going to go ahead and dot this guy up for a 1-play touchdown. Now, if you watch my channel, my gameplay, I always have something in my arsenal to go ahead and blow up my opponent for a 1-play touchdown for cover 3. So this is something you definitely need to have in your back pocket too if you want to be successful online. Now, if you like running cover 3, This is a simple, easy adjustment that you can make on the fly to protect yourself from giving up a cover 3 one-play touchdown. So I want to show you a simple concept that you can use to actually go ahead and blow someone up for a one-play touchdown with cover 3. So this is a cover 3 sky type look. I'm going to go ahead and try to block the running back to just give myself a little bit more time. Now, I want you to take a look at Smith's route. Smith's route is a fly route, but it's slightly bent inwards. So because it's a bent inwards fly route, the corner on the right-hand side doesn't necessarily take into consideration that it's going to be his deep responsibility. He thinks that route is actually going to go to the middle third, so he doesn't really chase after it right away. Now, to make this into a cover 3 destroyer, all you're going to do is you're going to preoccupy your deep third defender on the right side with a deep comeback route. Very, very effective route to pull defenders down. So all we're going to do is we're going to look to Smith. We're going to go ahead and try to pass lead off to the right. And I want you to watch the defender off to the right side over Sanders. That corner is not going to react to Smith's seam route right up the middle. So let's just go ahead and hit that. And you can see he gets himself out of position. And now you got yourself a one-play touchdown opportunity. Even though he tackled it, you can see I got a huge play on that. So let's go into Insta Replay and show you what happens. So what happens right here, this guy plays his middle third. He's just going to play straight back. This guy's playing underneath coverage, so he's going to let this guy fly. And then watch this defensive back. He's supposed to play the deep half. He's supposed to play the deep third right here, but he stops. He stops because of the comeback route. He's got a responsibility to play this deep comeback route, and he gets himself out of position. And by that time, I've got a nice big passing lane that I can throw into and get a completion and potentially go house if I got a guy that's a little bit faster than 88 speed. So what can you do to go ahead and make sure that you don't give up cover 3 touchdowns, but still play that cover 3 shell? Well, what you can do is just a simple adjustment with your outside corners. And all you have to do is just basically take your outside corners and turn them into deep halves. So you hit the wire triangle button twice. You select your defender. So we've got that one defender off to the right is giving up these one-play touchdowns. And we're going to go ahead and we take a look down at the very bottom, see where it says deep half. We're going to flip on that. Now look how his shell is different. He kind of gets in the center. He goes right on the yard marker right there and sticks, and his zone is a lot larger. You do the same thing. Look off to the left right here with the other defender, which is going to be the corner over Thomas. We're going to put him in a deep half too. Look how that cloud flat is. So you might notice when you're watching some real top players, YouTubers, competitive players, that when they run a cover 3 shell and they might peek at their coverages, you'll notice that their shells are just a little bit different. And it's because they're making this pro adjustment where they're turning their thirds, their deep thirds, into deep halves. And you're going to see a significant difference on the coverage that we just recently did. Look how the defender is actually in that area to go ahead and play that ball and get an interception. He doesn't bite. He gives up that deep comeback route and actually goes ahead and he's going to go ahead and take away that play. So this is a good thing to know when you're actually playing on offense and defense. So if you know your opponent, if you anticipate your opponent to hit you with a cover 3 bomb, you can go ahead and just basically put your guy in a deep half, and he's going to come and play these seam routes and take away those opportunities. You can see we got a double team, and these guys are going to bite and make a play on the ball. But on the flip side, he's playing a deep half, but look at the deep comeback route. This deep comeback route might be available for a completion. Now, if you have cloud zones, or you have your zone setting set up, that'll be taken away. But this is something that you need to understand: is if you've been giving up cover 3 bombs and you still want to stay in that cover 3 shell because you like how your zones are dropping and all that stuff, this is a quick adjustment that you could do to go ahead and stop that. Conversely, this is another way you can actually go ahead and beef up your cover 4s too. So if you got a guy that you like to run a lot of cover 4s, but you don't want to give up those cover 4 bombs, you can put these deep corners into deep halves, and they won't allow, say, this guy doing like some deep type of a post route. That won't happen because this guy's going to drop back into a deep half, and he'll get in that passing lane that he's expecting to expose with a cover 4 beater too. So once again, if you guys like these type of tips, make sure you go and smash that like button. and I'll be rolling out more offensive and defensive tips to take your game to the next level. So thank you for your support. Until next time. YouTube, hey, this is Prometheus giving you a defensive tip, guys. Wanted to go ahead and show you a defense that I picked up from another YouTube channel I featured on This Week in Madden, and was forced to go into it in a Draft Champions game because my opponent was just lighting me up, man. So I wanted to show you basically the score before the second half, when I was forced to actually go ahead and switch into this particular defense and how it locked this guy up. So if you see right now, the score roughly is 21-0, and this guy was making really good reads. He's making really good progressions and just basically moving the ball really effectively against me. So right here he actually hits me with a red zone play that I'll probably go ahead and take a look at and see if I can break this down for you. But this guy was just basically dotting me up. So by halftime, the score was actually 35 to 7, and actually switched into this defense by Choppa Boy G. This is a defense that I actually focused on. It's out of the big nickel over G, and in particular the defense we were focusing on was the cover 6 invert. Now he's got a full defensive scheme that's on his channel, but I want to show you the setup. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to show blitz. We're going to pitch the defensive line, slant them outside, use, or actually deep half your right of screen safety, and then user with a blitz your guy over the middle, and then you want a QB spy or man up the defensive tackle on the halfback, because that becomes a spy too. But what this defense does is it really messes up people's reads. In particular, the deep half on the left side actually carries like a man-on-man assignment against any of those deep crossers, and a lot of people just aren't used to seeing this. And what's good about this defense is that you do have a lot of guys in the box. You could see the crosser right here. Actually, he didn't read that correctly. He actually threw into coverage. His deep ball was taken away, and you're going to see me just going ahead and locking this guy up. So this guy's in a 3rd and 17 from the previous play where he actually, I think I sacked him. Right here actually goes under, he doesn't see the halfback angle, he has to get rid of the ball, and a 4th and 17. So the same opponent that was lighting me up in the first half, I switched into this defense, and he really struggled against it. And you're going to see me shutting this guy down. So once again, it's that big nickel over G, cover 6. We're just going to go and show blitz, pinch the line, slant outside, deep half the opposite side safety, and then we're going to go ahead and use her in the middle. Now I switched up to man defense just to give this guy a different type of a look. I also want to have pressure coming, edge pressure coming off the edge, because he kept rolling out to the right. He didn't roll off to the left, he rolled off to the right in this type of situation. Because I did mix it up with man coverage going across the field, he was looking for a deep crosser. He doesn't get the ball off correctly because I got some edge pressure. So here's another series right here where I'm going back on defense. I actually had a turnover against him. And same defensive setup, this cover 6 invert, basically user in the middle linebacker right here. I've got the guys crashed out. I got a QB spy, and right here actually throws. The defensive back comes over and actually plays that with the deep half. So the deep half with this cover 6 just plays really lights out coverage, and you want to have your best defensive player over there. So now he's in a trip set, or he's in a trace set, 3 wide receivers off to the right. This is like a common like levels play. Hits me with a little run up the middle. It makes a really good read, but I can tell you that this is very effective against the run. This defense is a lot more effective against the run than you would expect. So right here, go ahead, set the defense up. I'm using the middle linebacker. Got a guy on the running back. So he effectively turns into the spy if he blocks this guy, but this guy's basically sending out all 6. Right here, tries to run the ball, and sure enough, it closes it down. So back to the cover 6 on a 2nd and 10 situation. I'm going to go ahead and bring the guy down by showing blitz, and then we're going to go ahead and try to stop. This is an ace formation, so he's got a heavier set. tries to go and hit me with a big shot over the middle, and you can see right here I've got a defensive guy right there that carries. That's a deep half. He's supposed to play the deep half, but he actually carries across the field with the route. So because I actually took that guy away and then peeled back up to the other route, that took away his route, and he actually couldn't hit me with a big play. So here's a heavy set type defense. This is basically, you know, 2 running backs and a tight end. As you can see right here, because I've got the guy manned up on the running back, edge pressure comes down and actually stops the run. So it's fairly stout against the run. It's actually a fairly good defense. 4th and 12. This guy's frustrated. He's been going up and down the field against me in the first half, and now I jump into this new defense. He's like going, what the hell's going on? So set it up once again. Nickel defense right here. Basically, he throws up into a seam right there and actually just makes a totally bad read. I'm able to go and pick him off and get the ball down into the area down on his side. So this is one of the things I do like about this defense. Is fairly good. It's fairly stout against the run. You can see I've got my defensive players in the area against the run. I still kept labbing. This is probably not the best thing against really heavy sets, but it's going to get people in the area. Now you can get the cover 6 defense out of the following playbooks: 43-46 Chargers, Chiefs, Colts, Dolphins, Giants, and Raiders and Vikings. But it's worth taking a look at, and I also would take a look at Chopper or Boy's channel. That, you know, this is a really good tip. He shows a full breakdown of this particular defense, and I can attest to you that a guy I was struggling against defensively, I switched into this, and then I basically shut him down in the second half. So thank you for your support, guys. Until next time. Hey, this is Full Game Prometheus giving you defensive tips. I'm going to share with you basically 4 different defenses that I use online with pretty good success. I'll talk about the pros and cons of each one of the defenses, but I can share with you these are things that I've successfully used before in the past. So we don't know what's going to happen with Madden 22 on how effective these defenses are going to be, but if you have a shell that you can jump into, it's going to help you dramatically. So I'm actually using the Jets playbook, and one of the reasons why it has a 43. This is one of the base defenses. It's also got 34, some pretty good defenses and stuff like that. And then we have the nickel double A gap, and then we have the 3-3-5 wide defense. So there's basically 4 different defenses I like to do. Let's talk about an old school defense that I've used before previously. And it's out of the 43 defense, and the defense, the shell that I generally will come out of the huddle is going to be the safety blitz. Now, I like to flip the play depending on where my weaker of the 2 defensive tackles. So if I get a really good block shedding defensive tackle on the right side, I'll flip this play to the opposite side. Or conversely, if I've got a number 2 defensive tackle that's a better defensive tackle, I'll flip it. But this is generally how I'll run this particular play. And I'm just going to run this against random cover 2 defenses. So basically what this does is this takes the safeties and put them down in the box. Usually I can base align with this, but you'll see the safeties actually come down in the box. And there's actually multiple ways I'd run this defense. First and foremost, one of the first ways I used to run this defense is I'll go ahead and take each safety and put them into yellow zones. And what this does is it basically puts a bunch of guys in the middle of the field, and it jams up the middle of the field, especially if you've got a guy that runs a lot of like crossing routes and stuff like that. It still, you know, it still forces players to actually go ahead, and it gets a very imposing front. So you've got a bunch of people down in the box, and with those hook zones, they're going to play run fits. So it's really going to shut down the run a lot and force your opponent to actually check down and really try to look for it. So the only problem with this defense is that it does put a lot of pressure on you as your user to play over the middle of the field. So that's the only thing with this defense that I found that's not very good about, is that you could potentially give up a big play. So I eventually, what I did is you can see right here, I'll see if I can, you know, obviously with the screenplays that can hit, but eventually what I did is to try to protect against plays over the top. I would actually go ahead and take my inside defense.